Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo.
Oh, it feels good
Deuce
to say
and
it.
Mo.
We are live!
When it comes to the Kings, that's my favorite show.
First preseason game. Deuce and Mo, we're live after every game. How are we doing for a Sunday night chat? Drinking it, man.
What up, Deuce?
Hey, that was ugly.
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
How we doing, everybody?
What was
I'm rooting
ugly?
for y'all.
What? Let's go, Kang. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say this before we start the pod. We're off to a bad
Yeah.
start, okay? We're just off to a bad start.
You didn't
No.
ever say anything, though.
I didn't say anything, but I didn't realize in the chat we run sports updates about NFL games. So the Kings and Raptors playing at the same time as Niners Cowboys. I have literally avoided social media. I didn't know the score until someone in the chat decided to drop, "Hey, this is the score." Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
I mean-
this is Deuce and Mo night chat. We're talking hoops, and you're dropping NFL scores. Spoiler!
You wanna know-
I wasn't
No.
watching. I was watching Kings preseason.
The only reason
you
why
son of a
the only reason why
Oh my
Deuce is mad.
God.
Okay, calm down. First of all, what you removed it?
Yeah, I didn't wanna
what
look
a
at it.
baby! Oh
Damn,
my
man.
god! The only reason why Deuce is mad is because he was like actually trying to do that thing, like, hey, I'm gonna avoid spoilers on Twitter, on whatever the shit it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna avoid it at all costs. Even during the Kings game, I'm not gonna be on social media. I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's easy for me to just scroll by. But yeah, we actually like read our chat and like to engage. And so I saw that too, right
Yeah,
away. And that's okay though, because you didn't say. It's not like you started
no.
the podcast with like,
It
hey,
doesn't
don't
matter.
tell me.
But that's the thing. You don't say that because some troll's gonna do it. I don't know. I thought we were just here talking Kings. I didn't know I was gonna be like, hey, let's go to the NFL. Great, thank you.
Hey,
thanks.
great bit.
Appreciate
I
it.
like it. I thought it was funny. Great bit.
No, but I do appreciate you guys being with us here on Night Chat tonight. Make sure, if you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel too. We're gonna be doing content all the time, live after every game. And we're inching closer and closer to 13,000 subs, and we want to get there.
So cool, by the way. So cool. The growth has been tremendous. So thank you for making this all possible. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I missed you, even though like we've all been here. We've done a few live things, but mostly interview format during the off season. So it is so nice to be back.
Just dropping that we are live to my friends on Discord. By the way, if you don't know this, we take Discord calls too.
Oh, yes, this is true.
So I'll drop that link in there. Well, people who are there can figure it out. How's everybody doing? First preseason game in the books.
guy.
I saw Scooby-Doo in the chat mention something that, hey, sucks you wait all offseason. The first game back isn't televised. Yeah, I mean, it's this is one of my things right now. I'm starting to notice more and more like teams are broadcasting the preseason games
As they should.
And look, we do work with NBC Sports California.
Yeah.
But for sure, in my opinion, if I was in charge over there, I'd say, Deuce Mason, you're on all the time. One. But number two, I'd be like, hey, fans care about these games. Like, you can even do a scaled back broadcast. And I know the Kings.com does stream live, but like, I don't know. I just think it's 2023. Fans want to watch this shit. Even if you don't think it's going to be millions, it may not be, but there are diehards who want to watch it.
Yes.
And I think if you're not going to provide it, someone's just going to find other ways to watch it in 2023. So you might as well just...
It's not just this fan base. It's not just this market that is like that. Even though I will say this is probably one of those markets that crave it the most.
Yep.
So yeah, no, that part sucks. But for everyone that did watch it, amazing. We get to talk about it together. And for all the people that didn't watch it, great. We get to tell you what's went down.
We'll tell you what we know.
I like it.
Podcast.
No,
I feel like there's something in my tooth.
Let me see.
Really...
Oh my God, you do. Well, I'm on this side, but Jesus.
Is it gone?
No, God, you might need to like. That is just. It's like a whole steak just stuck in your freaking mouth. That's so weird. Like, how do you not? I don't know. Like, drink some water and flush it out. Shit. Anyway. That's disgusting. And I couldn't see it because it's on that side. Otherwise, I would have said something. I promise.
I'm glad I said something. I'm really glad I said something.
No, and thank you for shutting the door.
Shut your mouth. All right. Before we get started, how's the chat doing? How's it going in there?
The chat's doing good. Yeah, everyone wants to talk about the game, so let's go.
Let's do it. Let's just start it with our fancy new intro, Deuce and Mo. The first preseason night chat coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. We are recording this after the Kings' first preseason game that was played in Vancouver tonight. The Raptors got the win 112-99, and we're super excited to say we got a new presenting sponsor.
Yeah.
After every Kings game, shout out to our friends at Northwest Exteriors. Check out their website, trustnorthwest.com. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Morgan, how are you after witnessing 48 minutes of preseason basketball, baby?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. This day was full of basketball. You had the WNBA Finals, Game 1 going on earlier today. And then you obviously had other preseason games. And then...
Just this how sick I was.
What?
I was watching some Suns Pistons today.
That's
I was
not
watching
sick.
some Sixers Celtics. Most people would think it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's preseason basketball. It's an NFL Sunday. It didn't matter. I wanted to watch.
Yes. Well, same here. So anyway, I enjoyed basketball day, and then I enjoyed a little bit of Kings basketball at 5 p.m. In Vancouver against the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, it was fun just being able to see them go out there. There's so many different things that I know we're going to like just talk about and kind of break down, but I think we need to preface this entire podcast and anyone that joins late, you guys jump on anybody that joins late. Jump on them. Just attack them. Bully them. Don't bully. we're going to preface, this is preseason. We know whatever we talk about, we understand first and foremost that this is preseason is going to be before every sentence, but we're just not going to say that, okay? So we're going to have fun, break down some individual play. It's not like we're going to be breaking down rotations and why Mike Brown didn't stagger stuff. Oh, come on. But
we can explain some of this
we
stuff
can
too and talk about
explain.
it.
We
Yeah.
can explain, but like for anyone that's going to get upset about certain things, preseason, game one, that is how we're going to preface this whole thing.
Yes, it is still training camp. It was the first time this Kings team got to play another team for a while, in a long time. It's been a minute, right? They've been playing against each other. And they take on a Raptors team, new coaching staff, and a Raptors team that gave them a lot of problems last year. Why? Because they're long. I mean, when you got OG out there, Siakam, there's a lot of length. You know, Pirtle's 7'1".
Jeez.
They've got a lot of length out there, which obviously gives the Kings problems. The Kings started the same lineup that we got used to last year with De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, and Domantas Sabonis. And Morgan, what did I do on that first Kings possession when Keegan Murray?
Oh my God, you guys, like these are the moments that I'm like, should I just be recording Deuce Mason during every single game? Because he got up off the couch and was screaming, yeah, that's how you do it, yeah, and like clapped his hands together, sounded like a psycho. And I mean, I didn't blame him a little. It was a little bit too much, but also I understood where his emotions were coming from with the way that Keegan threw it down, put the ball on the floor.
He put the ball on the floor and
then threw it down. So yeah, I understood the excitement and I felt your excitement as well.
Well, and I think it was just something that we all wanted to see a lot last year. The coaching staff wanted to see it. I know people like watching us. How many times like, God, just dunk that shit, man.
Yeah.
Don't get blocked. Go dunk it.
Don't be soft.
It was good to see him have a couple of dunks tonight. Yeah, we have a lot to go over with this. I mean, like you said, it's preseason, so I don't really get caught up into the final score. The Kings starters, Mike Brown said, would play 15 to 20 minutes in this game tonight. The Kings starting lineup, Keegan Murray played just under 16 minutes. Harrison Barnes played 14. Sabonis just under 16. Huerter played 14. And then Fox just under 16 minutes. They did not play in the second half. I thought the first quarter, that first unit looked amazing. Like the offensive, I mean, it looked like they didn't miss a beat. It looked like they were in regular season form.
Exactly, coming off of what they kind of left off with last year, right? Everything was just moving so smooth. The way that guys were moving without the basketball. It didn't matter that there was that one possession when they got it around the horn to HB, corner three, misses the corner three, Sabonis, offensive rebound, HB, sprints to the block. Sabonis finds him, little cute reverse by HB, right? Like the connections out there, everything was looking pretty good on that side of the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, and defensively, it was looking okay at first.
Yeah, I thought, especially in that first stint with the starters, I felt like the activity was good defensively.
Yes.
Like Mike Brown was talking about they need to increase the physicality. He had said that during training camp, the defense has been okay. The physicality's been better, but it can improve. I saw some of that. They were bumping guys. If anything, they were fouling too much. And that's kind of that's the fine line, right?
Free throws.
You want your guys to defend and play physical without fouling. Breaking news. And the Raptors shot, I believe, 20 free throws in that first half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of free throws to give up. But I thought they got some nice deflections, and the offense was moving really well with that first unit, which isn't a surprise. Like, if there's one thing I'm not going to be concerned about with the Kings, especially that starting lineup, is the offense. You know, when you take a step back and look at the big picture of tonight's game, Fox was 0 for 6, right? Huerter 1 for 3, Sabonis 2 for 6. Guys weren't knocking down their shots, especially in their second stint. But I just thought the movement, everything about it, it looked really good.
Yeah, to start off the game, just like you're saying. And they were trying to set that tone a little bit more on the defensive end with the physicality, bumping guys when they were cutting through the paint. So it slowed them down on those cuts and active hands. All those things seem like they were there at first. And I think Toronto did a good job of adjusting to their game, but you also kind of see it deflate the Kings a little bit more and more, especially when they kept missing a lot of their outside shots.
Yep.
And they can't allow that as they continue to go forward to dictate the way that they play the entire game. And I don't think Mike Brown would allow that going forward.
Let's start with Keegan Murray tonight because we talked about the game started. I think the thing that was most impressive, especially in that first stint, it was that he wasn't just being the catch and shoot guy, which, look, you still want Keegan Murray to be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter because he's so good at it. You still want to run him off dribble handoffs, but you don't want it to be so predictable. These teams know last year when he's coming off dribble handoffs, for the most part, he was shooting, right? Now there's more of a threat. It looked like there's a couple times he brought the ball up the floor. There was one time where Siakam hounded him, deflected the ball out of bounds. But like these are the things you want to see during training camp and preseason. It's like, yeah, give him the chance to bring the ball up against someone that's long, like Siakam. I also just love that it felt like he was being more aggressive looking for his.
That's it. And I mean, it didn't matter if it was like he did on that first play when he put the ball on the floor, he went all the way for the jam. And then there was other moments when he was going up with finesse and a floater, like just understood where the defense was meeting him and was like, okay, well, I'll utilize this weapon that I have. Oh, you're taking away that? Great. I'm going to shoot the ball again. And obviously we already know high IQ, smart player, but it was fun seeing him be a little bit more aggressive, like we said, with putting the ball on the floor and trying to make other things happen.
I know he's a good shooter.
Yeah.
He was 1 of 5 from 3 tonight. Not concerned about it. Duh. It's the preseason.
Hey,
we can't say that anymore.
No.
Have we reached the it's the preseason quota?
How
yet?
about we can say it like 5 times the whole podcast, and now that's 2.
Yeah, we might be at 3 to be honest. It might be. Anyway, Keegan finished with 11 points on 5 of 10 shooting. He had 2 dunks. I think it was 2 dunks.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
And a couple baskets.
Yay!
That was great.
Yep.
I love seeing that from Keegan Murray, so that was a good time.
Yeah, and I think there was a moment on the defensive end. Not only was he good with his active hands, I forget who it was. It might have been Scotty Barnes that got him in the post up pretty early on, and I was just like looking at Deuce. I'm like, he's going to change that. He's not going to allow that to happen again. He allows Scotty Barnes to get way too deep in the paint, make a cute little move on him, have a nice easy bucket. And I think those mistakes, it just gives someone like Scotty Barnes more confidence to try and go at that again and be like, oh, I can size you up. So you got to make sure that you are setting that tone.
Got to
right
bump
away
him
as well.
before he gets his
Yes.
spot. Yeah, you don't want him to get that deep position and make a move on you, especially if you're on your heels. So yeah, there's definitely things to clean up, but I was super encouraged by what I saw from Keegan Murray in his 16 minutes of action. I also saw a little more Fox Sabonis pick and roll, which was nice.
Yeah.
Sabonis did not hesitate on that first mid-range shot he took and made it.
Oh, I love that. That was assist from De'Aaron Fox. You're right. That little pick and roll, pick and pop, give and go situation with those two right there at the high post. And Sabonis, beautiful little midi. I was like, that's what I want to see early on.
That confidence has to be there.
Yep.
I mean, we start talking about, okay, what Keegan can do offensively if he's showing a little more this year, putting the ball on the floor, attacking. Great. And he can still shoot it. Awesome. If Sabonis isn't hesitating on the mid-range shot and it's going in,
do it.
It just opens up so much for the Kings offense. The spacing becomes even more ridiculous.
Loved it.
So we talked about the Fox Sabonis pick and roll. What were you going to go next?
I wanted to go Harrison Barnes. I thought he was fun right from the start.
Shocker
offensively.
that we do this every time, even during the regular season when Harrison Barnes has a nice game and does some things. Don't ever talk about it. HB, yeah, I thought he had some great attacks at the basket.
He was keeping them in it right away, right? Putting points on the board for this team. And I think a lot of it had to do with his movement, just being in the right spot at the right time. But again, that goes to his IQ, understanding his teammates. And it was nice to see him have those moments early on. He had some layups, like just being there for his squad offensively, especially when De'Aaron Fox was like missing finger rolls and everyone was missing their outside shots.
Yeah, so HB had 11 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. By the way, the Kings as a team tonight, 10 of 45 from downtown. We'll get to the rest of that in a second.
Don't freak out.
So that group, of course, started the game. At the 5:50 mark, Brown went with Davion, Fox, Monk, Keegan, and Sabonis. I'm like, wow, they're going with those 3 guards, seeing what that kind of looks like. That group did not play together long. At the 4:04 mark, we saw an entire bench unit. And we didn't see a lot of staggering tonight with the starters. That one 5:50 to 4:04 stretch was the only one. At the 4:04 mark, we saw Mitchell out there with Monk, Chris Duarte, Trey Lyles, and JaVale McGee. And to start the second unit, I got excited because Davion Mitchell knocked down a couple of threes. His last couple, a couple people on our Discord said that when he missed later, and I have to go back and watch because I didn't notice this, and it depends on how he catches the ball, all that stuff. It looked like he reverted back to the old form a little bit.
Okay.
But his first 2 3-point makes were good.
Oh
and
my God.
he looked confident taking them.
All in one motion, the way that the ball was coming off his
Yep.
fingertips, rotation of the ball, all of that looked good. Like when I say all in one motion, I'm talking about from his base on, right? It was just beautiful. In that first 3 that he made, I highlighted this. I said, Deuce gave me a high five when Davion made his first 3.
Did I?
Yeah. See, I was going to say, you never do that. Like, I always want to go like fist pound to Deuce, and he's always like, you're just like a dick about it. You're like, eh.
Okay, here's why I get a little amped up because
And then you high-five me.
These are
nice.
These are first impressions, right? Like it's preseason. That's how many is that? 3? 3.
That's 4.
Okay, I have one more.
Yeah,
I have one more.
we have one more collectively as a podcast, so you're really screwing it up.
I thought I had 5 on my own.
False.
All right, I said it, but
Yeah, so we got it.
we got it.
Yep.
Okay, but when you hear like, oh, Keegan's really developing and Keegan's being more aggressive, we saw it in California Classic. One of the first things you want to see is you want to see him do it like at the first opportunity.
Correct.
And he did it. And I'm like, yes. Davion, we had talked to him over the summer, and he talked about working with Steph Curry's skills coach and worked on his shot. And you're like, okay, you really want this for Davion because it's like he's working on it. And that's one aspect of his game that if he can get better at, it's going to change some things for him and the Kings. And then he knocks down his first couple. I'm getting fired up for him.
See, I knew that was a test just to show you guys how much he was going to hesitate seriously giving me. He doesn't give me high fives. And it was just, again, just like Davion shot, it was all in one motion. He gave me that high five, felt excited about that shot that Davion made. Then Davion went on and made that second 3.
Yep.
No high five there. But I think we were both feeling that same thing of like, holy shit, his shot is tweaked.
His defense, of course, is just what it is. He hounds people. That was great. But that group did not close well at all.
No.
They really struggled with the length of the Raptors. And Mike Brown actually started that same 5 in the third quarter, and it was that stint was really, it was a mess. They just looked like they had no flow. They weren't knocking down shots. Monk was off tonight. Chris Duarte's first appearance was not good. He missed a ton of threes, and they were electing not even to guard him on the perimeter.
And that's what I wanted to go to with Monk and Duarte. It was like Monk just he didn't really find his flow right away. That's fine. These guys haven't played in so long in real game action on the NBA floor. I get it. And then I'll talk about what Monk did do well in a second. But then Chris Duarte, I said it to you. I was like, why does he look raw out there? Like it was a very
Well, he didn't play a lot last year.
He didn't
New
play
team.
a lot last year. I totally understand that, but that confidence wasn't there. So hopefully that's something that he can keep building, because I know he's a smart player that we've seen before, but you just didn't see it in a lot of moments. Like he made mental mistakes out there, didn't look confident. So hopefully that changes. But can I go to the Monk good?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize one thing. I said that group came at 4:04 mark of the first quarter. And then they started the second quarter for the first few minutes, and then the starters came back in. We'll get to that too. But and then the third quarter, that group started. I felt like I jumbled that up a little bit.
I'm glad that restate it.
Go ahead.
Good job. And now the good about Monk. Him and JaVale McGee.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up in that first stint. Like, I felt like right when they came in, it was like, okay, what was that going to look like? We all thought another thing, that Monk-McGee pick and roll could be nice. Malik Monk's so good as a pick and roll ball handler, especially throwing lobs. He did it with Metu. He did it with Holmes. He did it with other Kings bigs last year.
If you're a lob threat, he's going to throw it to you.
And JaVale's so big.
Yep.
Like, so first time he throws him a lob, easy jam. Then the next time he kind of lobs it up to McGee, who had to have a crazy ass finish and one. And that was really good. And you see the potential with those two.
Yeah.
McGee's such a big dude, such a big target that you could throw it up high and he can go get it.
I think one of our favorite things about that second pick and roll with Monk and McGee was JaVale McGee's pick. It looked like a Sabonis pick. Like it was sturdy.
That's a good point.
His guy, the guy that he was screening did not get through.
Rolled hard to the basket.
Yep. And he got the ball back. They made it a play. It was great. I loved seeing the potential of that. I loved seeing other guys as well find McGee with a little bit more of that, having that being a lob threat and everything. So yeah, that was good. I'm excited to see those two keep growing together.
The only bad McGee note I had was I wrote down when he fouled Gary Trent Jr. on a 3-pointer.
Oh,
and that was just like
shot clock winding down.
It was just one of those frustrating things because JaVale, you're so big. You don't have to close out that hard. Like, just give me a good contest.
Well, look when he came down, like it wasn't Gary Trent, whoever it was. He came back. He was running back down the floor, and they were about to shoot a 3, and he just packed the shit out of it.
That was sweet.
Yeah. It's like you don't need to bite. Like you are smarter than that. Just stay disciplined, and yeah, he should have just kept his hands up.
So that group ends up starting the second quarter. Mitchell, Monk, Duarte, Lyles, and McGee. Then Mike Brown brings the starters back in at the 8:02 mark, and they played the rest of the way. Please note this, we have not said Sasha's name yet.
Noted, because I kept mentioning,
At first I was like, oh, second quarter, and then I started getting nervous. I'm like, I know Mike said he's going to play all the guys tonight, but
like when?
Come in. It's third quarter. Anyway, so this game was tied at 35 at the end of the first quarter. At the half, it was 69-55. So the Kings were outscored by 14 in the quarter. And it was interesting because, one, you allow 69 points. And I think if you don't watch the game, you're going, oh, man, the Kings, the defense must have just been awful. They weren't guarding. Dude, I felt like they were letting their missed shots impact everything else.
They were.
If there was one area the Kings were pretty good at last year in the NBA was transition defense.
Oh, yeah.
They would get back, all right? They may not be able to guard you all the time in the half court. They could have breakdowns, but, like, they could get back, right? Tonight, it was not the case at all. It was like, missed shot around the rim, and the Raptors were pushing the pace, getting out and running. And I could tell it deflated the Kings. I also could tell at the end of it, at half, those starters looked really tired from playing that final 8:02.
They did. And again, it's like we've all talked about, right? These guys, they've had months off from actual NBA play. Even if they're scrimmaging or doing other sort of open gyms, it's still so different when you get back after months having off. And the Raptors, with their new coach, they want to have that 0.5 offense or however, whatever the term is, but basically just being quick with it, right? Making a quick decision.
Just like the Kings do.
Exactly.
Right?
But they were making quick decisions with even the way that they were pushing the ball up in transition. And I think there was times too, like we even saw De'Aaron was back. It was a 2-on-1 situation. And he had to decide whether he was going to commit to the ball, make sure to stay in the back. And he was there in a good space, but they still ended up throwing a little lob, boom, jam. There was another time too, he turned it over. He had a shitty soft pass to Sabonis early on in this game. And they steal it. They throw it out to their outlet and he sprints back. I think it was on, I forget who it was. And anyway, and then he ended up fouling him, sending him to the free throw line. He missed 2 free throws. So, De'Aaron made that effort to get back defensively. But yeah, there's too many moments where they put themselves in bad situations in transition defense.
Yeah. I'm looking at the final numbers. Well, fast break points ended up being 24-20. Also, why am I paying attention to numbers tonight? It doesn't matter.
Who are you?
I don't know.
And what are you doing?
It's the exhibition.
Yeah, even for us, right? Oh, and just really quick,
that doesn't count. It's the exhibition.
Wait, when I'm gonna say it's preseason for everyone.
Yeah. I hate that term.
Well, Jaylen Brown had his shorts on backwards in this game. So that's that's what I'm even saying. Like for us having our first night chat back after being off for a few months. I know we still podcast, but still it's a little bit different. So yeah.
So ugly end to that first half. We go to the third quarter, more ugly. They start Mitchell, Monk, Duarte, Lyles, and McGee. The length of the Raptors starting lineup of Siakam, Poeltl, Barnes, Schroeder, and Poeltl was just too much. They killed the Kings during that stretch. And then finally, at the 6:16 mark of the third quarter.
Say it with me. Sasha, 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 Sasha. Sasha, Sasha, Sasha.
Vezi, Vezi, Vezi. Vezi, Vezi. It was good to see Sasha. All right, I don't want to make too much of like lineups, especially in the first preseason game, because Brown literally played the starters together and played the entire bench unit together. Obviously, during the regular season, that's being staggered. He's going to miss, it's going to be mixed up a little bit. I was a little surprised Sasha came in at the 6:16 mark of the third quarter. Before we get to maybe some of the reasoning behind that, let's just talk about what you saw. Sasha played 11 minutes and 19 seconds in this game and had a game-high 12 points to go along with 2 rebounds and assists, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the line. What do you see from Sasha in his minutes?
I think one of the first things we saw was like a little bit of a backdoor cut, and it was nice to just see him like, okay, again, we talk about basketball IQ with this team. He knows how to move without the basketball. He knows where to move, and he can move. Great. So glad that that is there. But then when he shoots the effing ball, I was trying to describe it to Deuce, and when people say like butter, it is the epitome of that definition, like butter. It is so smooth. I don't even understand it. And all the Kings players have described it all training camp or on media day, talking about like his shot. It's just automatic, all these things. And then you see it for yourself. Like I saw it in EuroLeague, whatever, but really just seeing it. And the Kings put out an Instagram of him shooting before the game. And it was just, it's so smooth. It's different. And I loved seeing him shoot the ball out there.
Someone in our Discord, I think, mentioned that it looks like Sasha has to shoot the ball in 0.4 of a second or it's just going to blow up in his face. And I thought that was the best thing. It is butter, Morgan. It totally is butter. And I thought it looked just as advertised. I mean, we watched him play in the EuroLeague, and it's just like, yeah, this guy fits.
Yeah.
This guy moves off ball. I thought defensively, it's kind of what I thought. I'm like, there's going to be some bad matchups for him in the league, but he moves well.
Mm-hmm.
He plays physical. He's smart, moves without the ball, and can knock down an open 3. He's got good size. I mean, I think he checks so many boxes. So you're probably wondering, wow, why was it 6:16 mark when he was out there with Colby Jones, Keon Ellis, Trey Lyles, and Alex Len? Can I give you my theory? Because then he ends up playing with Jones, Ellis, Kessler Edwards, and Alex Len.
Give us your theory. And yes, and what I will say, when Deuce at first was like, there's got to be a reason, I said, hey, let's not overthink this, but I also appreciate this theory.
My theory on this is I think Mike Brown knows what he has in Sasha. I think he's seen enough. Like, the Kings sent Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox, Mike Brown. So many people went over just to see Sasha play.
Correct.
You don't make that type of effort if you're like, hey, is this guy even going to break into the rotation? That would seem weird to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So my theory is he knows what he has, and he's like, I want to see how these young guys work with him. Having a high IQ player, a vet who's 28 years old, who's been the EuroLeague MVP, getting him out there with these guys can help them and put them in spots.
Or maybe
I don't know.
and maybe even this, on going off of your theory, it's more like, hey, Sasha, you're playing with a crew that needs more leadership. Can you not be passive, and can you take control at times when they need you to, when you should? Because I think that's the number one thing that we've heard from media day all the way through some of these training camp practices is that, like, not that he's necessarily passive, but he's not selfish. And I think there's times where they're going to
look for his, for sure.
Yes. And I think Keegan Murray was someone that they saw that happen a lot last year. You understand that he's a rookie. Yes, Sasha Vezenkov technically is a rookie, but he's also played at a very high level for quite some time, and he's 28 years old. So it's like, shoot the damn ball. So yeah, theory was more that Mike Brown wanted him to take over with those lineups.
I
Didn't see it happen.
I also think it helps them get organized too, right? Like,
Sure.
I think just having a smart player, just putting a bunch of young guys out there for themselves.
Yeah.
I think putting them out there is a good thing.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
So that's kind of how I looked at it, because ultimately when you watch this guy play, I go, oh, he's going to be impactful for the team. Like, I don't have a question as to whether or not he's going to be in the rotation. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe in practice and some of these scrimmages that the Kings have had early in training camp, the defense is a bigger issue than maybe we saw tonight, and they're concerned about that. Maybe. But I just watched him. I'm like, he does too many good things offensively not to be out there.
Yeah. I am with you. I agree. I literally was getting so sad when we weren't seeing him play in that first. That was one of the things I was looking forward to, was just seeing him play. Just because I'm selfish. And finally we got to see him go out there. And yeah, it was fun. That's what I'll say about it. It was fun.
It was.
You know, just
finally
finally seeing it was like, I'm excited to see where this can go.
So are you buying into my theory a little bit?
Your theory is not, it's not a flawed theory.
Thank you.
But the way that I took over your theory and said that he should be the number one guy in that group, and it's like, you should be leading and getting yours, I think is more.
He had 12 points in 11 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah.
He led the Kings in scoring. Yeah,
exactly.
he did
As
that.
he should.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
exactly.
my point.
We're going to take some calls coming up on the night chat portion of this. We do need to hit a couple of more things on this game. So, Sasha, as we mentioned, played those 12 minutes or just 11 minutes, 19 seconds, and I thought he looked really good. I thought he was one of the best guys out there tonight. Colby Jones, the Kings rookie.
Yes. Excited.
Mike Brown mentioned the other day at training camp, he was asked about the third point guard. Last year, it was in camp between Dellavedova and Quinn Cook. Delly won out. He was on the team. Delly's now in the NBL. When Mike Brown was asked about this the other day, he mentioned Keon Ellis, Colby Jones, and Jordan Ford as possibilities for that third point guard spot. We saw all of them handle a bit tonight, but you really liked what you saw from Colby Jones. Not only just his all-around game.
I did. So what I was saying to you when we were watching the game, I'm like, look at his feel for the game. Like, he looks like someone that gets it, that feels comfortable, that feels confident. I started comparing him a little bit to Chris Duarte, just in the sense of like, that's someone who's been in the league and looked a little frazzled out there, or like, just couldn't get things under control, where Colby went out there with pure confidence, ready to go, NBA ready, however you want to say it. I think the way that he takes care of the ball can be really fun if you have to depend on him to be in that third point guard spot. And not to take away from Keon Ellis or Jordan Ford, but I think Colby Jones has strength. I think he has IQ. And then again, that confidence really driving him to go be in that position.
Yeah, he just seems like a very smart player.
Yep.
He plays with some physicality. He can defend too. And, for a rookie, and I know he's experienced, right? He played college ball, right? It's not like he was one and done.
Yeah.
He looked like a very confident guy. He looked like he belonged out there. And that was a huge positive for him, especially as he's trying to maybe, fight his way for like a legit role on this team. And I thought he showed some nice things in his stint.
And I want to say this too, because I did see Ian in the chat mention the overreaction to Duarte is crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's very crazy.
And just know, like, when I am discussing it, like, I'm not picturing that to be his game all the time or going forward. I'm more just breaking down what I saw in this game. Like, hey, he didn't look confident. He looked a little frazzled. Hopefully that changes. Most likely that is going to change. And something else that Deuce and I talked about too, we're like, remember when he had that connection and the chemistry with Sabonis in Indiana, his rookie year?
Yeah, play them together a little
so
bit.
like, hopefully there is a time when we see the staggering rotations and that they get to be together.
Yeah, and just for reference, Duarte ended tonight 2 of 9, 0 for 6 from downtown in 13 minutes, 46 seconds of action. But hey, you still have 4 preseason games to go. But yeah, I mean, he's trying to battle it out for a role on this team. And like, missed shots are one thing. It's just about making the right decisions and playing the right way. So he'll have another chance to do it on Wednesday night to try to bounce back a little bit. But yeah, I like what I saw from Colby. I thought Keon running, it looked a little clunky out there. He had a few turnovers. I thought he had some tough passes. I don't view Keon as like, he's not a traditional point guard. I love what he brings defensively. I just think the decision-making, running a team.
Agreed.
I was thinking about this because I'm like, last year in the G League, I didn't feel this way. But the size of the NBA is just different. The athleticism is different. There's passes that you can get away with in the G League that you can't get away with in the NBA.
The length of the Raptors
Yes.
looked like it's screwed with his ability to make the right pass, and it was
Yeah.
like that's not the right decision.
And he
We've
took,
seen you create and do better.
And he's a good three-point. He's a really good three-point shooter in the G League. I just felt like some of the stuff was forced, and I felt like he was trying to look for his a little bit. And it's like, no, hey, just play in the flow. Play. You're out there with
'Cause you'll
Sasha.
get yours.
He had Sasha
Yep.
on an open corner three that he didn't pass it to him. And look, it's not going to be perfect all the time. I just felt like he didn't have a good showing out there in that first preseason game, and I'm not sure that's like his best position. I do think, from a defensive standpoint, I love his activity. Like the guy is a deflections monster. He can get steals. He's active. Active hands go a long way.
Well, and we saw toward the end of his G League season last year, like what he was creating and doing on the offensive end. I mean, Bobby Jackson was like, shoot the ball more, shoot the ball. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Do more. But that was it. It was shoot the ball more, create for yourself. Like, I don't think he needs to necessarily be that main ball manager creating for others, because I think he can do so much more off the ball.
All right. Who else do we need to talk about? We talked about Jones, Ellis, Kessler, Edwards. Didn't really see a ton from him tonight.
No. I don't think there's really, I mean, you know, there's
Didn't
a
he have
few,
that one really bad pass? He had that miscommunication where he's trying to fire it to the corner to Sasha. Sasha was cutting and it went to like the second row, but didn't really see a lot from him. I also like some of these guys, and this is the challenge too. I'm interested to see how Brown kind of works the rotation the rest of the preseason, because it's obviously going to change. But, you know, I want to see Kessler out there with like some of the starters, right? Like I want to see how he
Sure.
looks in those groups. I want to see Chris Duarte in some of these situations.
'Cause
And
we-
of course, Sasha. I want to see, give me Sasha out there with the starters. I just want to see what it looks like.
Hey, be patient, bud. They'll get
I know.
there. They'll
I know.
get. And with Kessler Edwards, you're right, because when we did see him with some of those pieces last year, he had some like big defensive moments, and then like could get his for a second, and you see the flashes, and you see that it's there, and then when he's not that guy and playing with a whole bunch of other guys that are not that guy, it's going to be more difficult to play to your full potential. But at the same time, that's just how it is in this league. And with whatever minutes you get, whether it's in preseason or during the regular season, you have to find a way to get yours. And getting yours is not necessarily you shooting the ball. Getting yours is finding the open
Yep.
man and creating and being the good teammate to make this team better.
The other guy that we should mention that handled the rock, not Keon Ellis. We had Keon Ellis, Colby Jones, and then Jordan Ford, who's on a two-way contract with Sacramento, played with Stockton last year, had a really good year, and he had a really good summer league. He ends up with 8 points in 8 minutes of action. And yeah, he's smooth out there. I think, you know, he's going to be able to do some things offensively. The biggest challenge for him at the NBA level is just defensively from a
Yep.
size perspective.
Yep. Well, you saw him there too. He try and take that charge at
He
the
did.
end. Was he in the restricted
No,
area?
they called a charge.
They did call a charge. So they called a charge. I think it looked like he hit his head on the floor.
And Mike Brown got up and
Oh,
fist pumped. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Because Mike Brown's big on that right now. It's like this team doesn't have the rim protection that they need, especially long term. Like they still need to build this out. I mean, I've thought about that a lot. I mean, JaVale McGee is going to be a help, but he's not going to be playing a ton of minutes, right?
Yeah.
So how are you going to protect the rim without a shot blocking presence? It's going to be help from the weak side. It's going to be being vertical, making sure guys aren't getting deep, right? And also taking some charges. The Kings did a good job taking charges last year. That's going to have to be a point of emphasis again going into the season defensively.
I know Trey Lyles didn't stand out like a whole bunch or anything, but something I kept pointing out to you, I was like, look at his rotation. Look at his rotation.
Yeah.
The way that he's one of those players that makes me so happy with his understanding and timing of getting to the opposite block and being there and help, because it's helping create a turnover for this other squad. It is creating pressure that they have to pass it out and the shot clock is winding down. You know, like those things make a difference, even if it's not a blocked shot, a rebound, or whatever. And I noticed Trey Lyles had a few of those defensive moments.
I want to give some love to the people watching us live, Morgan Reagan.
Love you.
It's a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Preseason game number 1, and there's a massive crowd of 424 plus people. Yes.
Give me a hell yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go.
Thanks for joining us live on this Sunday.
And if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Let's get to a couple of the comments. Mark says, way too early, but I'm a tiny bit concerned about Fox and Monk coasting a little bit on last year's fairy tale season. ... Question mark? I didn't feel like Fox was coasting that. I felt like after that last 8 minutes and 2 second stretch, the whole starters played in that second quarter, they looked gassed at the end of it. He was missing his shots, looked tired. Everybody looked like they were gassed. It's early in the camp.
Yep. That's how I felt about it, especially with him.
Enforcer 2K9 says, I disagree. We didn't really take charges much last year. We just let guys walk straight to the basket unchallenged. The Kings actually did a really good job with taking charges last year. It doesn't mean they were great at protecting the rim. My whole point was like that has to continue if they're even going to have a chance. It's also the weak side help. It's making sure to come out and help, especially in the pick and roll situations when a big's getting blown by. Are you there to come over and protect the basket, get up and be vertical? So, yeah, I'm not trying to act like the Kings were great at protecting the rim, but there's so many facets of it where if you don't have shot blocking, you better be doing some other things well.
Yeah, like there was even a moment in this game where I think it was Chris Duarte that was trailing someone because he was getting screened, and so it forced JaVale McGee to pick up his man, and he didn't pick him up, and JaVale McGee didn't pick up his man quick enough, didn't make that decision quick enough, so he got like Chris Duarte's man got like a quick little jumper in the paint, and those little things like that activity and just like the communication and that chemistry will all grow hopefully, because you want JaVale McGee to not only show his jersey to Chris Duarte's man, which will help slow him down, but you want Chris Duarte to be much faster to catch up and get back in front of his guy.
All right, so first preseason games in the books. We're going to talk to some people, read the chat. We should also note that the next Kings game will be Wednesday night against the Lakers, and some great news for people who did not get to watch tonight's game.
Ooh.
It will be on NBA TV.
Yeah!
And I believe there's, out of the next 4 preseason games, 3 of them will be televised, 2 on NBA TV and 1 on NBC Sports California.
Hell yeah.
That's significant.
Let's
so there you go.
There you go.
Before we move forward, can we give some love to a brand new presenting sponsor of the Deuce and Mo podcast? This is a big deal. Of course, we're a small business. We're growing this thing. So when we have local partners to step up to the plate and go, hey, Deuce and Mo, we want to partner with you. That's just how they said it.
Just like that.
Let's give some love to Northwest Exteriors, Morgan.
Yay, Northwest Exteriors. Welcome. We are so excited to partner with them. But you guys, I'm so excited to be posting some of this on social. But the Deuce and Mo podcast studio has some new noise canceling windows. And then my entire place has brand new windows. And Deuce, I know you and I have already talked about this and raved about this, but these last 2 days have been 94 degrees. The old windows on this home were from the 1940s, and they had the pulleys and the heat and
single pane windows.
Oh my God.
I think if anyone watched our podcast, they would know this studio, it's either in the summertime, I'm sweating.
Yes.
Or in the winter,
pits.
or in the wintertime, Morgan's cold.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a blanket, a beanie. She's
Even
got
with the heater
hand
on.
warmers. It's all changed now. And that's like the biggest thing. If you're thinking about getting new windows, you got to go with Northwest Exteriors because they do it right. One, go to their showroom. It's local in Rancho Cordova, and they've got all the windows. They've got a great team over there. All the people that have worked there, I feel, have been there for like 15, 20 years.
Yes.
They walk you through the process. You could touch the windows that you may purchase. You could shut them.
Touch them.
And then you order them. And then they don't subcontract, by the way. They've got people, installers that work for them.
In-house.
They come to your house, they come to your place, and they put the windows in, and it's a game changer. I'm telling you, it goes a long way. The other thing is you save on energy bills. I mean, we're talking about an average of 30%.
Small business need to save that money. No, and I'm just so excited to partner with someone that we truly believe in as well. That ended up having all the nicest people in the world. So it was the funnest experience. And I think windows, thinking about your home, it's like, that's intimidating. Can I do that? Can I afford it? There are so many different options, affordable, whatever you need. I have UV protection on my windows now, energy efficient windows. I am so excited. And so if you're looking to maybe just make your house even prettier aesthetically and or save on some energy bills, make sure you look up Northwest Exteriors.
Yeah, go to their website, trustnorthwest.com. This is the jingle I love. Simply the best, right? You like it?
Where's it coming?
I think I hit it early.
Oh, wait.
And so it's gonna come right now. Let's sing it together, everybody. Shout out to our new sponsor, Simply the damn best.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Really got to cut
And
that
your
music
support
down.
of the Deuce and Mo podcast. That was my fault. It was on a loop. Also, if you want to support the show in a different way, check out our brand new Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Deuce and Mo. If you want to support the show in a different way, we do monthly Q&As
Got one coming
exclusively
up.
for members that will be coming up. Details on that. And we drop interviews early. There's bonuses. You can check it out.
Merch
Patreon.com/Deuce and Mo. Yes, yes, yes.
All the above. Thank you guys for all the support and just for being here. We are so excited for this season. I mean, I've been excited all damn summer, but I am so excited for everything.
Well, let's kick things off with preseason night chat number 1 by going to the people we love talking to. People who are in our Discord. We dropped the link in the chat. Let's welcome to the show for the very first time of the 23-24 campaign, Praneel!
What's up? How you guys doing today?
So good, Praneel. It is so good to hear your voice. Are you like 45 years old now?
No, I'm still 17.
Okay.
Still, school started a month ago. We have I have my college apps and everything, so it's been gonna be a busy next couple months.
I'm gonna
But
say,
I'm excited.
Praneel, I'm not trying to be like the old guy that tries to embarrass you. You just sound different now.
He just sounds like an older man.
Sounds like he's got a little bass in that voice.
Watch, and now his basketball knowledge is just on a whole nother level.
Praneel, what do you want to talk about tonight? What's on Praneel's agenda?
All right, let's start with Keegan Murray. Woo! And I mean, I opened. I was playing Madden. Like I missed like the first 2 minutes of the game because I was trying to finish the Madden game or something, and then I opened it. And then the first thing I saw was the Keegan Murray, Domas DHO Keegan Murray taking this like ridiculous movement 3, and I'm like, man, we are so fucking back. It was beautiful, and like his development over Cal Classic, and you're seeing a little bit during preseason. I mean, I think he's gonna slowly start hitting the next step. And like when you look at wings that develop, like NBA wings developing from role players to all stars. They need to develop the handle, and they need to start figuring out how to score without help, which is creating space and creating advantages for themselves. And like you saw Keegan do that sparsely. I really like there was like this moment where Domas set him a screen, Keegan came off in like a pick and roll floater, which is something that he didn't do all of last season.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Brown gave him the ball to take up the court a couple of times. He got picked by Siakam, I think, once. But you're seeing Mike Brown give him opportunities, and that's exactly what you want for Keegan Murray. And like what I saw today, the creativity and the things that he was doing, along with the shooting ability that we have and the aggression, was something that really makes me excited moving forward for his season.
Yeah, Morgan and Praneel, that's the thing I think about is if this continues to evolve this season, what that could do for the Kings offense. Because obviously teams are concerned about Fox, his speed, the mid-range game, very explosive. What Sabonis does as an offensive hub. We know Kevin Huerter, who hit the 3 efficiently last year, hit over 200 threes. And then you mix in Keegan, who already showed like being a threat from a shooting perspective. But if he starts implementing what we saw tonight and over the summer, it's going to be nasty.
I'm so with you, Praneel, with like how special and fun it is that not only that we're seeing his game develop right in front of our eyes, but how fun is it that this team, not only Mike Brown, but his teammates are empowering that type of play out of him.
Oh yeah, and like from the minute he got drafted, I knew that if this team were to make that next jump and this team were to continue progressing, it's got to be from Keegan Murray. And every single elite NBA team has at least 3 guys that you can get the ball to and they can score. And Keegan Murray, I think, can be an all-star in like 1 or 2 years. Very easily.
Yeah.
He has the talent. He is a ridiculous shooter. Every single elite player has a superpower. Keegan Murray's is shooting. He's showing the creation off the dribble. He's showing some pick and roll actions, which is really intriguing. And he looks faster, he looks stronger, he looks more aggressive. And those are the type of things that you're going to need moving forward.
I guess the biggest question will be just how he evolves defensively. And I think there are some better signs.
For sure.
I thought he did a good job switch out some guards tonight. I think something Morgan referenced early on was just Scotty Barnes had deep, position on him once. And you just want him. You've seen the aggressiveness offensively. Now it's like, give me a little more of that aggressiveness defensively. Be a little more physical. You've got good size. He put on some weight. He looks stronger. Like, utilize that a bit, Morgan.
Mike Brown did talk about during these training camp practices, or it was media day. I forget what it was last week, whatever. And he was talking about how he was excited to see Keegan's leap even on the defensive end. So he's seen some certain some things that we're obviously not seeing. And obviously we didn't see, again, the best defense from this Kings team tonight, especially in transition. But yeah, if you're just looking at what it truly can be, not even from a physical standpoint, but because he has the right mentality, he has the right defensive IQ or basketball IQ. I think it's going to be really hard for teams to just be like, we know what Keegan Murray does every game. We know how to stop this. Because here's what I say, Praneel, is that Sabonis, every team was like, oh, he never wants to go right or whatever way. It was right. And they still didn't know how to stop it. Oh, De'Aaron Fox, he just wants to go downhill and get to the basket. And they still didn't know how to stop it, especially in clutch times. So I feel like Keegan's going to take that step even with that part of his game.
Oh, yeah. And like looking at this Kings roster, I think the thing that we lack most is the wing defender.
Yep.
You have now, I think JaVale looked great, by the way. I think he is the backup big moving forward, and he was fantastic in that role. You have depth. You have more shooting. And the one thing that I look at is who's the wing stopper. You have Davion on the perimeter and the point of attack. You have JaVale helping out on the weak side as a rim protector in the paint. But who is that wing defender? And once again, to really make that leap, it's Keegan.
Yeah.
It has to be Keegan.
Well, and Praneel, maybe it was the guy that's on the other team tonight, OG Anunoby.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you start thinking about his fit.
We're all OG fans, so like
saying.
don't
Well,
flirt with that. It's like wait till it's real.
I guess my whole
I'm not gonna sell myself on something that hasn't occurred.
Fair,
or hasn't
fair.
Even
Thank
No,
you.
I'm with you, though.
I'm not gonna sell myself on it.
It feels like the Kings, Monty he didn't pounce on that type of wing stopper. Like, he didn't feel comfortable with some of the options out there. And I think they're leaning more into offense. It's like, and if Keegan's developing what Sasha can do out there, it could be special. Praneel, thanks so much, man, for dropping in with us.
For sure. And I'm really excited for the new season. Can't wait to talk with you guys more.
Can't wait to
talk to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, man. There's Praneel. Want to talk to another youngster too?
Yes, I'm so glad people are back.
What's up, Jaskarn?
Hello.
What's up, dude?
How y'all guys been?
Good.
We are great, man.
How about you?
It's been decent.
Well, what'd you like about tonight's preseason game?
I'll say mostly Sasa, of course, but I think the underrated guys are probably Davion and Barnes because Barnes looked great in the first quarter. I'll admit that he was doing his thing, and Davion too. Davion was doing his thing, especially with the shooting. This year, he's like you can see his shot change, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and
like he's been
yeah. I mean, if that shot starts falling, it's gonna. Mike Brown's gonna have some tough decisions this year in general, just with the rotation, because he said he wants to play 9-10 guys, and then it's like, some guys you want to keep engaged throughout the year. Kind of took a page out of Steve Kerr's book, and it's like, all right, we want to get this guy some run to keep him engaged. And the Kings have some nice depth this year, Mo.
You guys, there's so many games in a season where I go, there's going to be a lot of guys. They're having their off night. They're not shooting well. Well, guess what? They got depth. They got other shooters that maybe he goes, okay, let's try this one. Let's try this guy. Let's get this guy in the game. And if someone has the hot hand, there's going to be hopefully no egos. And then maybe it's a starter that goes, okay, I get it. I want this team to win.
Yeah, for sure. I think the rookies were decent today. I like Kobe Jones. His floater was nice today. I mean, I like his floater game.
Yeah, he had the one floater that was short, but I think Morgan pointed this out when we were watching it. It looked like he overthought it. He thought about pass and he's like, I'm going to shoot it. And then it was short. But yeah, I like Colby's minutes. Jalen Slauson is just all over the place, like pretty chaotic. Slauson, the other Kings two-way player, played 8 minutes in this game and he had 4 fouls. But I mean, he's just all effort. I mean, that's from the guys that were in the game late. I did appreciate they were diving for loose balls.
Hell yeah.
Even Davion in that first half, they were playing hard.
Hell
And
yeah.
I want to see that shit. So that was good.
Yeah, the effort was there, and that was a fun way to go about the first preseason game.
Jask, I appreciate you checking in, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I hope you have a great night.
We'll see you soon.
Yep, Jask, another
I
youngster.
love it. They're getting so old.
I know. They were teenagers and now they're like,
Yeah.
I'm 18.
They're like young men. Ugh.
Can we get some love to the people watching us live? We already did that, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's give them another hell yeah. Because Edwin says, preseason night chat, let's go. No, dude, it's good to have night chats back.
It's so awesome that you're all here too and down for it. This is what's so cool about this community and this market.
Yeah.
Like people are down. People are down.
I saw Flavius Films was mentioning Scotty Barnes. Yeah, I looked at the Raptors last year. I'm like, God, they have so much talent. You know what Siakam can do. I really like OG. And then Scotty Barnes, what he could develop into in year 3. I'm interested to see kind of their path as a team. They've got a new head coach here that is definitely implementing some of the King style to quick decisions, ball movement, just movement in general. And you think about how long this Raptors team is and how they can get deflections. They can bother a lot of teams and they have some offensive firepower. It's getting adjusted to playing in a read and react offense too.
For sure. You can go about looking at the roster and all these other things, but I think something that you and I don't think we actually ended up talking about it with our NBA night chat, but with Masai talking about this team and he had some comments that were a little off-putting to maybe some players. And I'm just curious what the tone is within the organization, if everyone actually likes each other. I don't know that vibe. I'm not covering that team. Everything looked fine tonight. New coach. It has to feel a little bit more fresh.
There's questions surrounding Siakam's future there. Did not get the extension. OG's contract's coming up too. And Messiah immediately he's just kind of like, yeah, they got to play with effort. I didn't
Show
see
me
the effort on a
something.
consistent basis. And there's some pushback from the players, but obviously a very talented, they've got a talented squad and some
Agreed.
things to figure out. Let's go next to Dave. What is up, Dave? Welcome to Night Chat with Deuce and Mo.
I'm glad King was back.
You were just cutting out. You said, I'm glad that.
Oh, sorry. I am glad that Kings basketball is back.
Hey,
Dave is one of the most active people in our Discord and also one of the most infuriating.
what's the most infuriating thing about Dave?
He's actually been better.
Okay.
Just like he just likes to stir the pot a little bit.
Dave.
Like it's what we don't like. Preseason overreaction.
Leave your spoon at home. Stop stirring, bud.
Got to keep the conversation going, right?
So what'd you feel about the first preseason game then?
I really liked what I saw from Sasha. I was surprised he came in so late. But he kind of just stood out on the floor, just playing the right way. Seemed like everyone else in that lineup was just kind of chucking and just playing poorly. And he kind of just was playing the right way. So I like to see that, especially since he's such a talented vet and he really looked like it out there. I mean, I really see no reason not to play him in the regular season.
Dave, what do you make of my theory that Mike knows what he has with him and went, you know what? Let's throw him out with some of these younger guys because you need a high IQ player out there. Let's give him some reps with someone who knows what's going on.
To be honest, it looked like they played their scrimmage lineups.
That's the thing with the scrimmage. Like the lineups have changed so much during scrimmages.
They were all different.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's funny. Well, here's the thing, and I know some people have talked about this. I mentioned Matt George brought this up. Like,
Yeah.
The media, and again, unless people are getting other information and it's getting leaked to them, which I haven't seen. Maybe I missed that, but we don't get to see anything like that. That one day we saw a scrimmage was the final 5 minutes. but that was it. And like they swap out lineups all the time. But who knows? And at least tonight, yeah, he didn't come in until that 6:16 mark. I just watch him, and I have a hard time believing that he's not going to be in the rotation. Like he does too many good things offensively. He plays the right way. And even if there are some issues defensively, it's never with him going to be about effort.
And I'll tell you this, Dave, the reason why I don't put stock into the lineups that we saw during scrimmaging or anything, because if Mike Brown and these Kings players are saying what they're saying about Sasha, like, they're not just effing with us. They're not just raving about him and telling us how great he is as a shooter and everything. And then they're going to have him like in the third string, you know? So like there are different reasons why that is probably happening, whether it's in practice or even in this preseason stuff.
Yeah, it's just definitely weird because he just stood out so much. Like when he came into the game, like he was just playing like on a so much higher level than everyone else in the game at the time. Like he's just moving without the ball and getting open shots and moving the ball when he gets it and kicking to the open man and making just all the right plays. And that's what's really impressive with him. And I think that he's going to fit perfectly on this team. Another thing I noticed was maybe that Huerter is kind of getting his offensive role replaced by Keegan. I know it's preseason, but like they ran a ton of DHOs for Keegan and almost none for Huerter that I can recall. Yeah, so that was a big part of his game, him as a bonus DHO. And so maybe they think they already know what they have there, just like you said with Sasha. But it is concerning because if Huerter isn't getting run in that DHO and they're just running it all between Sabonis and Keegan, it's hard to see how he's going to find his role on this
There's
team.
just no way. I mean, the Huerter, I mean, as you know this, the Huerter Sabonis DHO was so effective last year, and obviously so is the Keegan one. I think maybe especially early in the preseason, they really want to push Keegan to be aggressive and like give him some looks, like give him some early looks, give him some different looks.
Get comfortable with it.
I'm not surprised that, you know, he took the most shots out of the starters tonight.
Okay.
Right? He took 10 attempts. The next closest with Harrison Barnes at 8, Sabonis 6, Huerter 3, Fox 6. But I think your larger point, I think he's going to be they view him, and they've said this publicly, like if they're going to take another jump, it's going to be because Keegan takes that jump and helps elevate them.
And I personally, Dave, I don't think that takes away from Kevin Huerter. I think that just adds to their offense. I think it just adds to their team. And I think there's going to be like, because I told Deuce this again, when that starting crew was in there that last 8 minutes going into the half or whatever that was, their offense looked stagnant by that point, right? The first stint was great. It was like, oh, effortless flow, whatever. And then it just started looking stagnant. You saw on the strong side, you saw the ball and like Sabonis, and then on the weak side, you just saw everyone else, right?
Yep.
It was just
not a lot of movement.
No, it was not a lot of movement, not a lot of things going on. And so maybe they're just overthinking it too preseason, and they're like trying to get Keegan to get his touches, get more. But I think you're still going to see the flow of everyone involved as they go forward.
And I think that's the thing with the Kings offense last year. That's what made them so dangerous, is you had so many different guys able.
For sure.
I mean, what was the final number last year? They had like 8 guys score 30 or more in a game.
Crazy.
Which is pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if Huerter wasn't still heavily involved in the DHO game. And I do think, like, especially in the preseason, they're probably going to run fewer DHOs too. Like, I think they really want to make it a point to try some other things, because the reality is, dude, everyone watched that playoff series. Other NBA teams, they're going, okay, well, this is what the Warriors did to kind of take the Kings out of their game. So how are the Kings going to adjust? I'd love to see some more Fox and Sabonis pick and rolls, right? Because Fox's speed is so deadly. He's so good in the mid-range. And these teams have to be concerned about Sabonis' size because he's so physical too. So we saw a little more of that tonight.
In pick and rolls, not only with pick and rolls, but how about even if we even see more like backdoor actions and flares, right? Because let's say other teams are overplaying the high side of a DHO and they're stopping the whole thing. It's like, okay, read and react just really quick.
Yeah, I think the Kings were second most in the DHO game last year. They were the best DHO team, but they were second most in DHO possessions to the Spurs, I think. And they were like really, I think they were last in pick and roll
Yeah. And that
possessions, but they were actually good in those
yeah,
pick and roll
that's
possessions.
what I was so surprised. And I remember last year Mike had said it early that he felt like pick and rolls, like he knows his team can run pick and rolls, but he also knows like every team does it. So he wanted to make sure that they're not just relying on that constantly. But I think it's finding kind of a balance, you know, make sure you have a legit DHO game, but also understand that if that's not there, what else is there? So I think this coaching staff is like beyond smart, and they are not just going to go, hey, we'll just do the same thing and we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll make some more shots next playoffs. You have to adjust for sure.
Yeah, the actually interesting thing was it's small sample size, but the Domantas Sabonis Keegan Murray pick and roll was one of the most efficient offenses in the NBA, but it was in a small sample size. It was like 1.2 points per attempt, which is really high. But for me, it was like that bench unit came in and they were just poor. They just couldn't score at all.
Yeah.
So that group just could not score on Toronto's group, and obviously their length was completely like it was a completely different level than what we were playing 3 guards, and I just, from what I've seen so far, I just don't think Fox and Davion are a match together on the floor. They're both like wanting to dribble the ball.
Yeah,
and
they didn't
make
really
plays.
play much together either, though. I mean, they played like what, a minute 40 together. I think
in that game, but they definitely go away from it fast. When it happens. Because they're just like, this isn't working.
Right.
But for me, I think one of the guards for this team to really figure out the rotation, one of these guards is probably going to get traded.
Yeah, I mean, I think
one of Davion, Huerter.
I was telling
Monk.
Morgan this the other day. I think we were like walking and talking about this because that's literally all we do. I mean, Dave, we were talking all the time in Discord. My life revolves right now about around the Kings and NBA.
If we're not broadcasting or doing something with it, we are talking about it.
But
I
mean, you've got Fox, who's taken up a ton of minutes. You've got Monk, who's in the final year of his deal. You have Huerter, and you have Mitchell. Like, you can't play all these guys. Like, it's going to be very tough. And then you throw in like the front court is like, well, you like what Lyles can do in some small ball 5 situations, but you probably want to play McGee, and you've got Sasha, you got HB.
Problem
no, it is
to have.
It is,
and that is something over the years the Kings, when they weren't good, they didn't have. Like, everyone's like, why can't you just trade Buddy and Iman Shumpert for LeBron James? And it was like, what? No, that's not how it works, kid. So yeah, it's a great, like, there's actual talent, and I feel like the talent on this squad also gets showcased better because of the system that Mike Brown has in place. And then even if they don't execute and develop in a different organization, it's like you showed other teams in this league what they are capable of as an individual.
Yeah, and I think the front office knows that this roster is not a finished product.
For 100%.
I think anyone who watches it can see that.
Right.
Well, Dave,
we have a few too many guys at the same talent level, I think, and we need one more guy that's like at a little bit higher talent level that we can rely on to play every game in the same role.
Yep. Dave, thanks for checking in, dude.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Good perspective.
Yeah.
Good perspective.
No, and you know, he just said one more guy. You realize that is like not only the same thing that we say every year, or like this community says every year. You guys, you go around the league, that's what everyone feels about their team, right? Especially like if they have 2 guys playing well and then the third guy isn't doing well, they're always going to be like, man, if Dame and Giannis just had a healthy third because Chris Middleton isn't that guy. You know, it's at every tier, at every level. So it's understandable.
I'm looking around the league because you had brought up some of the other teams. We'll watch a little bit of the Celtics today, like and the Sixers play, and I'm like, hey man, Tyrese Maxey, they showcased him a little bit. It looked pretty good.
Well, because James Harden is on the floor and then he has the ball in his
well,
hands.
also Embiid did not play either.
So
he got to show out a little bit. I thought that looked good.
I'm not shitting on James Harden even in that situation, because I think it's great that he looks good in shape. With the Sixers, they showed him shooting around before the game, and like, I hope the best comes out of everything for him. But yeah.
The Suns, by the way, they played the Pistons today in the preseason, and so much attention was on, what's it going to look like with Booker, Beal, Nurkic, and Durant out there? They scored 45 points or 46 points in the first quarter. Looked pretty good. And I was laughing because I ended up watching some of that game in the third quarter, and I missed like this fourth quarter barrage, but Bagley went off in the fourth quarter. But I was laughing because like I watched the first 2.5 quarters. I'm like, God, Bagley and Metu aren't in. And then they end up coming in late third. I was like, how crazy is this? We're watching Marvin Bagley and Chimezie Metu battle it out there.
Yeah. And Chimezie Metu was like on fire toward the end of the game. Like, get him the ball. He had the hot hand. And again, it's preseason. And some of these guys flourish against certain lineups and against certain talent, and good for them too.
We need to give some love to a couple new subscribers. Thank you to D-Generation X for subscribing. I got 2 awards for you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Morgan. Also, shout out to Donald James, and I'm probably right, who became members. Logan with a super chat of $2 saying, overreaction, new nickname is Duarte Stinky.
Oh my.
We're not going with Duarte after one preseason game where he played 14 minutes.
It's giving me James Kennedy vibes, if anyone remembers that from the Vanderpump reunion.
Leezy, he's been a member for 16 months. A shout out to Deuce and Mo. Everybody get a hoodie. Okay, you're doing some advertising for
Hey,
us.
I kind of like it,
Yeah.
Leezy. Appreciate you.
Also, shout out to some of the people on Twitch that we never acknowledge, including Kessie from Australia, Hamburger
Kessie.
Dad's there, Nin Sage, Pizza Hooligan, and Yiddy. Appreciate
you guys are the best. Thank you. This is so cool.
All right, so next up for the Sacramento Kings, Wednesday night, they will take on the LA Lakers. Before that, we're, of course, going to be live after that game, too.
Yeah.
Kings-Lakers. That game is going to be played in Anaheim at the Honda Center, which is crazy to think about when the Kings were maybe moving to Anaheim at one point, and they would have played games at the Honda Center
So
as, I
annoying.
believe, the Anaheim Royals.
Barf.
Thank you to Ryan, who became a member as well. Shout out all you guys. So we got that, but also this week we're dropping a podcast with Howard Beck
Oh, yeah.
from
oh,
the
my
now
gosh.
senior NBA writer with The Ringer. We're going to talk some Kings with him, some NBA as well. So be on the lookout for that. Jamar in the chat says Morgan must really love Vanderpump. Seems like she mentions it every day.
No, I don't mention it every day, but you know what's funny? I think I do mention reality television now every day because yeah, I have a weird obsession. It happened during the pandemic, and I just felt like I was part of these communities of people of like it's so fun watching rich people act like they have problems and it all go down in little tiny edited television shows. Ugh, I die for it. So yes, obsessed.
Pandy Zandy is a Warriors fan in the chat. Says, if Sacramento didn't have a team in Sacramento, would you guys support the Warriors? I mean, Pandy, why would we're not going to talk. See, we're too fresh off. Like, I know it's been a decade now, but like that question's too real, right? Like, it's just like
because it could have happened.
It was really close to happening. So I'd just be an NBA fan. I think I'd be too heartbroken.
I think I would have found a team that would have spoke to me and I would have adopted. And you know, it's funny. They have that style of play where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love the way that they play basketball. But at the same time, it would feel very bandwagony. So probably not.
Knocked twice in the chat. Raptors fan saying easy warm-up game for the Raps.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
We'll never forget where we were on October 8th when the Raptors beat the Sacramento Kings in the preseason in Vancouver.
No way.
We'll never forget it. Aaron in the chat says Monk's handle and shot looked a little rusty. Hope that wasn't telling of his offseason effort. He will get in the rhythm, but hope he was pushing himself this summer. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would not be.
Don't doubt it.
Worried
Don't doubt
about
it. Yeah.
Oos. What's up, Oos?
Day one.
Good job. Day one-ish. A little oosy.
Ish.
Are you a little oosy? Feeling a little oosy?
Feeling oozy.
Sasha's shot looked even better in a Kings uniform. And Keegan looks like the offseason's paying off.
Great point. Great point right there.
Yep.
Love it.
Well, first game in the books. It was preseason basketball. Wasn't pretty the whole time, but we saw some good things. We saw some bad things. And we get another chance to see this team coming up on Wednesday night when they take on the LA Lakers. It's going to be fun to see that matchup. Will LeBron play in the game? He did not play in the Lakers' first preseason game. It would be good to see him in that showdown. It would be good to see Anthony Davis play as well, just from a size perspective. To see some of that Christian Woods on that team now. I keep forgetting him when I talk about the Lakers in their offseason. You know, they re-signed Rui. They brought back D'Angelo Russell. They gave Austin Reeves a new deal. They signed Gabe Vincent. Taurean Prince is now there on a vet deal. Christian Wood comes in last second on a vet min. Like, this team is pretty damn talented, and I want to see how the Kings perform in this matchup because it's another team that has some length.
Absolutely. And they're in the Western Conference, all of the above. Yes.
And they brought back Jared Vanderbilt, too.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you,
No,
Cameron. Yeah.
Excited to see
it's a good test.
what they look like, even in preseason.
Question before we go.
Yeah.
Do you look at Wednesday's game as like a must win?
You know, I mean, if you really look at this season and you want to make the playoffs, you have to win the second preseason game of the season.
Let's play a game real fast.
Preseason game of the season.
It's called... The Kings played 4 preseason games last year. How many games did they win? That's the game.
Wasn't it 0? Oh, no, they won 4.
Good.
Wait.
Yeah, they won all 4.
They won
Good
4,
memory.
and then they lost the first. That was it. And then they lost the first 4 of the actual season.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. They're off to a bad start then.
Yeah.
Because we want them.
It doesn't matter. Get out of here. Manny in the chat says, Deuce, how did you feel about Duarte? How did he do tonight? Well, he didn't do well tonight at all. I mean, I just felt like he just looked uncomfortable out there.
Yeah.
I felt like his shot did not look good. There was multiple instances where they didn't even come out to contest his 3, but hey, he didn't play a lot last year. And I'm eager to kind of see him get some minutes with Sabonis.
Yeah.
They have got some good chemistry.
And feel a little confident out there.
Well, that'll do it for us. We appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on the way out. We love you guys, but we got to go.
You all have a wonderful rest of your night. You're badass for being here. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.